Hello friends. If you were born on January 3rd, congratulations, you belong to one of the most unique, powerful, and quietly charismatic soul clusters in the entire zodiac. But don't expect to hear that from them directly. People born on January 3rd rarely toot their own horns. Instead, they're too busy getting things done, building empires, and silently changing the world one well-placed decision at a time. So, what makes January 3rd individuals so extraordinary? Let's crack open this cosmic dossier. From Capricorn influences and Saturn's stern hand, to numerology secrets and ancient tree symbols whispered by druids, today, we're going deep. Love, sex, friendship, career, nothing's off limits. Ready to find out who you really are? The Zodiac Core, Capricorn in command. Born under the celestial authority of Capricorn, January 3rd individuals embody the very essence of Saturn's disciplined, time-bound wisdom. This isn't just about being structured, it's about internalizing life's tougher lessons early and applying them with near-military precision. Capricorn is an earth sign, and earth doesn't move unless it absolutely must. That's the soul of someone born on this date, steady, strategic, deliberate. They don't just react to the world, they build systems to master it. Where others chase fame, January 3rd natives build foundations, the kind that last long after the spotlight fades. Their symbol, the mountain goat, isn't just for show. Goats don't climb for fun, they climb because it's how they survive. That's the silent metaphor behind every Capricorn born on this day. You won't see them panic, posture, or flaunt, you'll see them progress. Every move is a calculation. Every relationship, a deliberate alliance. Every failure, a studied stepping stone. They are the people who make blueprints for dreams and then work, slowly but ruthlessly, to turn them into tangible legacies. What sets January 3rd Capricorns apart from other Capricorns is the depth of their purpose. They're often labeled as bold souls, and for good reason. Even in childhood, there's a seriousness about them, a gravity. While other kids pretend to be superheroes, these ones are figuring out how to fund the Justice League. Responsibility feels innate, not imposed. It's like Saturn planted a blueprint in their DNA, a soul contract that whispers, build something that lasts. And do it your way. Their lives often revolve around legacy, not in a flashy, egocentric way, but in a quiet, enduring one. They're not just passing through life, they're sculpting it. Love romance, the iceberg that melts slowly. To fall in love with a January 3rd Capricorn is to slowly unlock a treasure chest buried under layers of caution, logic, and emotional armor. These individuals are not the whimsical romantics swept up by poetry and passion, they are architects of connection. They take their time not because they're indifferent, but because they value authenticity over infatuation. Their love doesn't come with fireworks, it comes with infrastructure. If they've chosen you, rest assured, it wasn't a whim. It was an emotional investment made after observing your patterns, your loyalty, and your long-term potential. Early in life, they tend to be emotionally self-contained. Vulnerability is not their native language, it's something they learn, slowly and with hesitation. That doesn't mean they don't feel deeply. Quite the opposite. They feel so deeply that they've developed inner defense systems to avoid pain and betrayal. But once you've proven yourself, through consistency, patience, and emotional maturity, something incredible happens. The walls don't just come down. They transform. These individuals become some of the most devoted and unwavering partners you'll ever encounter. Their most compatible matches come from earth and water signs. Taurus and Virgo provide a shared sense of pragmatism, stability, and reliability. Scorpio brings an emotional intensity that both challenges and complements the Capricorn reserve, helping them access their own hidden depths. But when paired with signs like Leo and Gemini, conflict arises. Leo's demand for constant affirmation and flair can clash with Capricorn's reserved nature. Gemini's shifting interests and restless spirit can feel ungrounded to the Capricorn, who seeks roots, not wings. In romance, the January 3rd soul isn't looking for a muse, they're looking for a co-architect of life. Sexuality, slow burn, deep fire. There's an almost mythic depth to the sexual nature of someone born on January 3rd. It doesn't leap out in public. It doesn't announce itself. But it radiates from within. These individuals are often mistaken as cold or dispassionate at first glance, but that's only because they keep their sensuality wrapped in discretion. What they truly crave is not just physical satisfaction, but emotional grounding through physical intimacy. For them, sex isn't performance, it's presence. They approach sexuality with the same depth and deliberation that defines their personality in general. They're curious but cautious, always testing emotional waters before diving in. They value control, not in a domineering sense, but in the sense of trust, rhythm, and intentionality. A January 3rd lover is not spontaneous for spontaneity's sake. They want to know their partner, read their cues, and build something that feels like a ritual rather than a routine. Each touch, each moment, is part of a larger narrative. Foreplay isn't just encouraged, it's essential. The journey into physical intimacy must be laced with emotional cues, shared trust, and psychological safety. Their capacity for exploration is often underestimated. In truth, they may harbor deep desires, private fantasies, and a need for erotic intensity that rivals even the most openly passionate signs. But they keep this hidden until they know it's safe to share. Kinks. Yes, but curated. Wildness. Yes, but earned. They want to lose control, but only with someone who respects the structure that had to be built first. With the right partner, their sexual energy becomes an unforgettable force, one that blends devotion with desire, sensuality with stability. The Capricorn of January 3rd doesn't just want you, they want to understand you, know you, and then merge with you, body and soul. Marriage long-term partnership. For those born on January 3rd, love isn't a whirlwind, it's a carefully constructed home with emotional steel beams and spiritual insulation. They don't just fall into marriage, they walk into it, blueprint in hand, eyes wide open. These individuals view commitment not as a dreamy escape, but as a serious life project, one that requires precision, patience, and a shared vision. Spontaneous proposals and whirlwind romances. That's not their style. They want to know who you are under pressure, how you handle conflict, and whether your goals align like puzzle pieces with theirs. Anything less than genuine compatibility feels like a waste of emotional equity. That's why many January 3rd natives either marry later or wish they had. Not because they fear love, but because they understand the cost of getting it wrong. They're not afraid to be alone, which is exactly why they're so good at waiting for the right person. And once that person shows up, strong, emotionally mature, and willing to share both burdens and dreams, they go all in. No loopholes. No wandering eyes. No, let's see how it goes. It's a firm handshake with the soul, I choose you, and I will build with you. Their loyalty isn't performative, it's structural. But make no mistake, their devotion is fierce. A January 3rd Capricorn will protect, support, and uplift their partner like it's their sacred mission. They become a cornerstone in the life of their spouse, someone who will listen even when it's hard, stay when things get rough, and defend the relationship with quiet, unshakable strength. However, their seriousness can be misunderstood. These are not cold partners, they're just private. Their love language isn't grand gestures or dramatic flair, it's consistency, thoughtful action, and strategic support. They might not scream, I love you, from rooftops, but they'll remember how you take your coffee, handle your taxes when you're stressed, and silently shield you from what you don't even know is coming. That's their version of romance. Emotional intimacy comes in phases for them. At first, you may feel like you're loving someone through a wall. But with time, and more importantly, with trust, that wall reveals itself to be a fortress built for two. Their greatest romantic gift. creating emotional safety in a world full of chaos. With a January 3rd Capricorn, you don't just get a partner. You get a co-pilot, a strategist, a lifelong teammate who will stand by your side with a quiet kind of love that gets stronger as the years go by. To them, a long-term union isn't a fairy tale. It's a mission. A masterpiece. A legacy in motion. Friendship, selective but fierce. Friendship with a January 3rd Capricorn is not something that happens casually, it's something that unfolds gradually, deliberately, and with a deeply felt sense of purpose. These individuals are not social butterflies flitting from group to group. They are more like gatekeepers to an inner sanctum, one that only a few chosen souls are ever allowed to enter. If they let you in, it means they've studied you, tested your consistency, and watched how you behave not just in moments of joy, but in moments of discomfort and pressure. For them, true friendship isn't about shared hobbies or frequent texts, it's about reliability, integrity, and mutual respect. They aren't interested in popularity, they're invested in loyalty. And once you've proven yours, they'll give it back in ways that can change your life. On the surface, a January 3rd Capricorn might appear aloof, or even a bit guarded. That's because they take emotional safety seriously. They've likely been burned before, by shallow friendships, broken trust, or being the one who gave too much and received too little. As a result, they don't open up easily. They won't rush into best friend territory just because you laughed at their jokes or went out for drinks twice. It takes time, shared experiences, and small but consistent acts of trust. But once you've crossed the threshold, they become one of the most dependable people you'll ever meet. They're not the friend who texts every hour, but they are the friend who will drive across state lines in the middle of the night if you need them. Their friendship is built on brutal honesty, and that's not a weakness, it's a gift. If you're spiraling, they won't coddle you, they'll ground you. If you're about to make a terrible decision, they won't sugarcoat their advice, they'll give it to you straight. Why? Because they care deeply, and they believe that honesty is the highest form of respect. Best friend matches for these grounded souls are Cancer, Pisces, and Virgo. Cancer offers emotional intelligence and nurturing energy that helps soften Capricorn's internal armor. Pisces brings a touch of creativity and empathy, offering perspective and emotional flexibility. Virgo, like Capricorn, is pragmatic, reliable, and thrives on deep trust, making it a partnership of mutual efficiency and unspoken understanding. Together, these signs don't just hang out, they build something real. Business career, empire builders. In the professional world, people born on January 3rd are not just participants, they're architects. Every career choice, every networking opportunity, every long night grinding toward a goal is calculated and intentional. These are not dreamers who wait for success to arrive, they are builders who design success from the ground up. Their work ethic is unmatched because it isn't driven by external validation, it's driven by a deep internal sense of purpose. They feel a responsibility not just to achieve, but to build something lasting. That's why they're often found in leadership roles, even when they don't seek the spotlight. Whether they're running a business, managing a team, or single-handedly creating a new product or brand, their approach is rooted in long-term thinking and impeccable strategy. What makes them especially powerful in business is their ability to balance vision with execution. They're not just planners, they're doers. Give them a messy startup or a collapsing project, and they won't panic, they'll problem solve. Step by step. Task by task. They're drawn to careers in finance, law, architecture, science, tech, and even the arts, as long as there's structure, mastery, and measurable results. They don't need to reinvent the wheel, but they will make it run smoother, faster, and more efficiently. And while others might burn out chasing short-term wins, January 3rd Capricorns play the long game. They're 5 steps ahead. 10 years ahead. They're building for legacy, not applause. When it comes to money, their approach is almost textbook-level practical. They're not easily seduced by flashy purchases or trendy investments. Instead, they focus on acquiring assets, not liabilities. Real estate? Yes. A carefully diversified portfolio? Absolutely. A private fund investment in a low-risk, high-yield vehicle they researched for weeks before touching a dollar? That's the move. And while they might seem frugal to some, the truth is they do enjoy quality, just not at the cost of future security. They'll take a tailored suit over a designer logo, a timeless leather briefcase over a gold-plated gadget. For them, success isn't what you show off, it's what you own, control, and sustain. Give them a dream and a deadline, and they'll hand you back an empire. Numerology, the power of 3. In numerology, January 3rd vibrates to the energy of the number 3, and while Capricorn is often known for its stoicism, this subtle yet powerful numerical influence injects something wildly unexpected into their personality, a spark of color within a grayscale palette. The number 3 is the number of expression, creativity, communication, and joy. It's associated with artists, performers, storytellers, and those who use language, art, or humor to move the world. This means that beneath the structured exterior of a January 3rd Capricorn lies a surprisingly whimsical, expressive soul. They may not lead with it, and they may hide it behind a dry sense of humor or a deadpan delivery, but it's there. Always. What makes this dynamic so fascinating is how it contradicts, and yet complements, the classic Capricorn personality. While Saturn's influence pushes these individuals toward control, structure, and restraint, the number 3 whispers to them in the background, encouraging laughter, play, and spontaneity. It's this internal tension that often produces January 3rd individuals who are outwardly composed but inwardly imaginative. They might be the executive who writes short stories after hours. The engineer who moonlights as a jazz pianist. The consultant who can mimic accents and tell stories that hold a dinner party captive. This duality creates a magnetic charm, the serious thinker who also happens to be surprisingly funny, or the diligent worker whose presentations unexpectedly shine with wit and flair. The power of the number 3 also gives these Capricorns a youthful quality that sticks with them throughout life. Even in their later years, there's a certain lightness to them that offsets their otherwise heavy sense of responsibility. They tend to carry a sense of mischief behind their eyes, a twinkle of curiosity that keeps them forever engaged in discovering new forms of expression. They may be skeptical of trends, but they're fascinated by ideas. And once they find a platform, whether it's writing, teaching, performing, or even parenting, they reveal this natural ability to inspire others with their words. This subtle charisma often takes people by surprise. While most expect a Capricorn to be all business, those born on January 3rd leave people thinking, wait, are they secretly hilarious? Yes. Yes, they are. Druid Tree Horoscope, the Fir Tree. In the Druid Tree Horoscope, January 3rd falls under the guardianship of the fir tree, a symbol of endurance, quiet majesty, and inner strength. Fir tree people are born to carry themselves with dignity, often moving through the world with a kind of noble restraint. They don't demand attention, but they command it. There's something about their presence that says, I don't need to prove myself, I just am. And that's exactly what makes them so captivating. They're not loud or performative, but their inner values radiate through their actions, choices, and sense of personal integrity. Fir tree individuals are driven by ideals, big ones. Legacy, loyalty, truth, and honor are not just nice words to them, they are personal codes. From a young age, they seem to understand the value of discipline, delayed gratification, and high standards. That's why so many born under the fir end up in roles where they guide others, whether as mentors, leaders, or silent role models. They may appear distant at first, even unapproachable. But once you engage them in meaningful conversation, you quickly discover a deep reservoir of wisdom and introspection. They think in big pictures. They speak in careful truths. And they rarely say anything they don't mean. Aesthetically, fir individuals are drawn to beauty that reflects order, classic architecture, timeless design, and the elegance of simplicity. They aren't necessarily trend chasers, but they have exquisite taste and a deep appreciation for quality. In love, they don't settle. They often wait longer than most to find the right partner because they hold themselves and others to very high standards. They seek depth, devotion, and substance in relationships, not surface appeal. And once they commit, they do so fully, bringing the same structure and care to their personal bonds as they do to their careers and creative pursuits. For tree souls aren't here to dabble, they're here to define what it means to live with unwavering integrity. Flower horoscope, carnation. The birth flower for January 3rd is the carnation, and its symbolism couldn't be more fitting. This flower represents devotion, fascination, and enduring love, exactly the qualities that define the inner emotional world of those born on this day. At first glance, carnations are often overlooked for flashier blooms, but upon closer inspection, their intricate layers and remarkable resilience reveal a depth of beauty that rivals any rose or orchid. Much like a January 3rd Capricorn, the carnation blooms slowly, deliberately, and with surprising strength. It's not showy, but it lasts. This flower mirrors the romantic nature of January 3rd individuals, layered, complex, and deeply rooted. They're not the type to wear their hearts on their sleeves or get swept up in fairy tale love stories. Instead, their version of romance is built over time, with trust, shared vision, and quiet moments that speak louder than declarations. Carnations are also known to retain their beauty longer than most flowers, a metaphor for the type of emotional bond these Capricorns seek, something timeless. They value relationships that grow stronger with age, where love isn't defined by drama but by depth and resilience. The carnation's rich history across cultures adds further meaning. In ancient Rome, it was a flower of dignity. In Victorian times, it symbolized fascination and loyalty. Today, it remains one of the most gifted flowers for enduring love. For the January 3rd soul, this symbolism is more than poetic, it's personal. They live life with deep emotional roots, even if they don't always show it on the surface. And when they do choose to express that inner devotion, through a gesture, a gift, a well-timed word, it feels profound. Because like the carnation, their love is not a fleeting bloom. It is a steady blossom, persistent through winter, quietly beautiful, and made to last. Stone horoscope, garnet. Garnet, the birthstone of those born on January 3rd, is far more than a jewel, it's a talisman for strength, endurance, and emotional clarity. Its deep red hue reflects the inner flame of the Capricorn spirit, steady, smoldering, and impossible to extinguish. For those who walk through life with purpose and ambition, garnet is the grounding force that keeps the fire alive without letting it burn out of control. It's not a stone of chaos or bursts of inspiration, it's a stone of sustained power. When a January 3rd individual wears garnet, they're not just accessorizing, they're aligning with something ancient and essential within themselves. The metaphysical properties of garnet are tailor-made for the Capricorn archetype. This stone is traditionally associated with loyalty, protection, and vitality, all values that resonate deeply with those born on January 3rd. In times of stress or burnout, when ambition turns into pressure and purpose becomes blurry, garnet steps in as a stabilizer. It reminds its wearer of what truly matters, not just the pursuit of goals, but the strength to sustain them. It also acts as a shield against emotional fatigue, helping Capricorns recharge their batteries without needing to retreat completely from their responsibilities. For this reason, many people born on this date find that meditating with garnet, placing it near their workspace, or even wearing it as a ring or pendant can provide a surprising surge of clarity and calm under pressure. Beyond its grounding energy, garnet also speaks to the heart. While Capricorn is often thought of as emotionally reserved, garnet encourages healthy emotional flow. It doesn't force openness, it gently supports it. For the January 3rd Capricorn who's working hard to balance career, relationships, and inner peace, garnet is like an emotional compass that keeps them tethered to their truth. It fosters deeper intimacy by promoting trust and emotional honesty, traits that don't always come easily to the stoic mountain goat. In partnerships, it serves as a silent bridge, helping them articulate love and vulnerability in a way that feels authentic. In solitude, it reminds them that their strength isn't just in control, it's in connection. Simply put, Garnet helps a January 3rd soul feel without fear and lead without losing themselves. Vedic Astrology, Sagittarius Makar Sankranti approaches. In the rich and ancient world of Vedic astrology, the positioning of the sun isn't based on Western calendar dates alone, it follows a sidereal zodiac. That means many individuals born on January 3rd may actually fall under the sign of Sagittarius, or Dhanu Rashi, depending on their exact time and place of birth. This adds an incredible and often surprising twist to their personality, a fire-lit craving for truth, knowledge, freedom, and meaning. It's like the earthy ambition of Capricorn is laced with philosophical wanderlust, making these individuals feel like sages disguised as strategists. This Sagittarian influence helps explain why so many January 3rd Capricorns have an insatiable hunger for growth, not just professionally, but intellectually and spiritually. These are the Capricorns who love to travel, who hoard books, who question religion, politics, and the nature of existence while building corporate empires or art careers. They don't just want to succeed, they want to understand why it all matters. Sagittarius energy infuses them with a love of big ideas, abstract thought, and a deep yearning to live life with purpose. It's what pushes them to ask, what's next, even when others are content to stay where they are. As the sun moves toward Makar Sankranti, the transition into Capricorn in Vedic astrology, it brings a spiritual threshold. This moment marks the symbolic shift from darkness into light, from inertia into progress, from confusion into clarity. For those born just before this cusp, there's a sense of duality in their journey. They often feel torn between the urge to explore and the need to commit, between dreaming and doing. But in truth, this duality is their superpower. It gives them the gift of vision and execution, idealism and realism, faith and facts. When they learn to harmonize these forces within themselves, they become uniquely equipped to not just chase success, but to redefine what it means entirely. Zodiac Compatibility Snapshot. Understanding who complements a January 3rd Capricorn requires more than knowing star signs, it's about decoding chemistry, values, communication styles, and emotional bandwidth. These individuals bring a unique blend of Capricorn grounding and, in some cases, Sagittarian fire, which makes for a dynamic compatibility map across love, sex, and business. In love, the strongest connections are with Taurus, Virgo, and Scorpio. Taurus provides emotional stability and sensual grounding, making it a natural partner for Capricorn structure. Virgo connects through shared intellect, ambition, and an appreciation for quality over chaos. Scorpio adds emotional intensity and loyalty, helping Capricorn open up without pressure. These combinations feel less like passion-fueled roller coasters and more like joint journeys through life's trenches and triumphs. In contrast, signs like Leo and Gemini may struggle to find common ground. Leo's need for admiration can clash with Capricorn's modest, goal-focused nature, while Gemini's scattered energy may feel unstable to the deeply rooted January 3rd type. When it comes to sexual compatibility, things get a little more interesting. Capricorn's sexuality is deep and intentional, not flashy, but intense. That's why Scorpio ranks high. Both signs bring depth, control, and an almost telepathic connection. Taurus offers sensual reliability, while Aries and Aquarius can spark excitement and adventure when Capricorn is ready to let loose. Gemini and Leo might dazzle for a moment, but over time, their lack of emotional depth can leave Capricorn feeling misunderstood or disconnected. The best sexual partners respect the slow burn, the emotional safety, and the mental foreplay that January 3rd individuals thrive on. In business, January 3rd Capricorns are a force, and they need partners who bring either equal power or complementary skill sets. Taurus and Virgo again shine here, forming natural alliances in building empires, managing details, and staying financially grounded. Fellow Capricorns make for excellent collaborators when egos are kept in check. They understand the vision, the grind, and the stakes. Scorpio offers strategic thinking and resilience, while Sagittarius injects creativity and innovation that can help break through Capricorn's sometimes rigid routines. Worst matches in business. Gemini and Libra may struggle to keep up with Capricorn's intensity and long-term focus. And while Leo can bring bold ideas, conflicts over control and recognition may derail the partnership unless mutual respect is firmly established. Overall, the January 3rd Capricorn's compatibility isn't about surface-level charm, it's about substance. Whether in romance, intimacy, or enterprise, they thrive with those who match their strength, balance their depth, and meet them at the level where real things get built. Summary: the legacy builders. If you were born on January 3rd, you didn't come into this world to follow maps, you came here to draw your own. You're not driven by trends, applause, or ego. You're driven by impact. You don't speak loudly because you don't need to, your consistency is your volume, and your discipline is your signature. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, you are a rare force of delayed gratification, strategic patience, and unwavering integrity. You don't rush to win today, you position yourself to still matter 20 years from now. You are, in the truest sense, a legacy builder. A person whose work, love, and ideas continue to ripple long after they've left the room. At your core, you are a paradox, a soul deeply rooted in tradition, but also quietly rebellious in your desire to define success on your own terms. You may not always feel understood, especially when your inner world is so rich with vision and purpose that words can't quite capture it. But that's what sets you apart. You're not here to be easily understood, you're here to be effective. Whether you're building a business from the ground up, nurturing a family with quiet devotion, or mastering a craft that others gave up on, you bring a sacred kind of seriousness to everything you touch. You don't dabble. You devote. Every relationship, every project, every long-term goal, it's either meaningful or it doesn't belong in your orbit. And while you may not crave the spotlight, you are impossible to ignore. People remember you, not because you demanded attention, but because you delivered results. Because you stood firm when others wavered. Because your word meant something. You're the kind of person others trust with secrets, with their business, with their future. Not because you promise magic, but because you embody reliability. Underneath your composed exterior is a fierce loyalty, a hidden well of emotion, and a desire to build something that lasts, whether that's a company, a family, a community, or a philosophy of life. You're not just passing through. You're constructing something others can build on. So as you navigate your life's journey, remember this: you were never meant to follow someone else's script. You were born to write your own. You were equipped from day one with the inner architecture to build something bigger than yourself, something that carries your name, your values, your vision into the future. When you commit completely. When you love, it's with quiet intensity. When you create, it's with excellence as your baseline. You're not just living day by day. You're designing a life that echoes beyond your years. That's your power. That's your purpose. That's what it means to be born on January 3rd.